It's time to duel!
What's up guys, Gooch1305 here, bringing you another deck profile. I wasn't going to do this straight away, but seeing as my Red Eyes deck has now reached 200 views, I felt that I should get ahead and record this now, see how this one goes. So thank you for your support by watching that. Please check out my other videos. I've now put up the Astral Pack, not the Astral Pack, the Arc V opening, and obviously I still have my Breakers of Shadow box opening. I'm looking to get my next box or opening sorted in the next few days. I'll probably make an order very soon, which will be nice for you to see what it is. I don't know what I'm going to choose yet, but I do have some ideas. So this is the main deck. I do have an extra deck and a side deck, but I will start with this, obviously. So this is my Odd Eyes Magicians. A little bit about that. Went to locals last night. I think it played pretty well. I finished it this morning as such. Got the last card through. It was built as a budget deck, but I ended up spending a little bit more than I intended to. I had to pay an extra £15 than what I wanted to, but it is in the condition that I want it to be in now. I think it is pretty much set, and I'm happy with how I'm going to keep it. So I'll start off. Okay, I'll start with the three Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragons. Obviously, this is your go-to in all of the Odd Eyes decks. Obviously, triple because you can search it with Sky Iris and make so many plays with it, and just keep bringing it back. And oh, it's a great card. Sweet. So we'll move on to the next one, which is 3 Dragon Pit. Your only target for Summoner Art. Obviously, you've got to play 3. Obviously, with the scale 8, it's one of the only few 8s that I actually have in the deck. So yeah, it's a nice card to pull out as and when and just Xyz with. Even Synchro, but not really, because there's not many plays you can do with this kind of card, except from Xyz. Then we have 1 Dragon Pulse. I'm considering taking it out, but I'll probably leave it in. I barely get this card through Pendulum Call and stuff like that. I always go with my other stuff, just so I can help out. But if I was using this as the actual monster, it would only be there as a rank 4, so I could Xyz. So yeah, let's move on. Okay, now we're getting into the effect monsters. So we have 1 Dharma Eye and 2 Zhanggeik Magician. I heard people say this a different way, but I say it how this is. So I originally had 1 and then 2. 1 Zhanggeik and 2 Dharma Eyes. If I can get the 3rd Zhanggeik, I'm considering taking the Dharma out completely. It's in there as it was just in there as a level 7 in replacing of this. But yes, this is so much better because I can do something that I just need to do with an Odd Eyes deck, which is the Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon. Yeah, it's a sweet card. So yeah, the additional effect of when this is Pendulum summoned, all Magician and Pendulum monsters, not just the Magicians, can't be destroyed by battle or card effects in this turn, which is great. So it doesn't get bottomless, any of them. And then he's good against light monsters with his light effect. So yeah, that's great cards there. Okay, then we play 3 Chirons. This is like the brain ache of the deck. If you get this out and another Pendulum monster, and your opponent just can't do anything because you just keep popping up back the other one and then attack for 2k, and it's just there as a bigger defense as well. Obviously, it can't be destroyed or targeted by opponent's card effects, so it kind of stops them from doing anything with it, which is really nice. Obviously, you've got to play it at 3. Some people play it at 2. Some people play it at 1. But in the way that I've built it, 3 is definitely the way. So next up, we have the 1 single Oath Dragon. I did have it at 2, but I felt it was a bit of a waste. I mean, if I get Utopia Beyond for the extra deck, I might put it back up at 2, but until then, it's going to stay at 1. Then we play 1 Stargaze Magician. In there is the scale 1, and then to stop your opponents from playing spells during the battle phase, pretty much. Apart from at the end of the damage step, but it has to be a pendulum monster that attacks. If not, it's just I never usually play it as a monster. So it's a pretty good card. I mean, there's not many things I can say about it. Okay, now one of my favourite magicians has to be the Wisdom Eye. Play it at 3, no less, no more. Obviously, no more, but definitely no less, because with the effect of you can send it from the Pendulum Zone as long as you've got another magician and place out another one. So it's kind of like replace search as such. If you don't get the card that you need to set the scale, you can get rid of this to either play the 1 or the 8 or anything in between that you can. So yeah, definitely 3. The one problem I have found with it is if I use Pendulum Call on the turn and then go to get rid of it for a monster, it just doesn't work. So I'm going to have to consider playing it differently when I have Pendulum Call. So yeah. Okay, next we have 3 Skullcrabats. This is a very good card for first turns or just normal summoning, because if you have nothing else or you have the level 7s, you can normal summon this, search out your Noble Dragon, and then sink to bring out the Meteor Burst. It's always there as a level 4 for a rank up or rank Xyz, which there you go. But yeah, definitely 3. I did have it at 2 for a while, but I've put the third one back in because it just helps out. Okay, I'm going to bring up the last 3 now. Okay, so we've got Zhang Xing Magician, Time Gazer, and Noble Dragon. So, Noble Dragon is your only tuner, and the only one tuner I have. It's got the good effect of, if there's an odd eyes on the field, and this is in your hand or graveyard, you can take down the level of the odd eyes to a 4, and then bring it back, and then sink if you need be, or you can just use it with a level 4. So yeah, it's a good little card because it just keeps bringing it back. Time Gazer is one of the other level 8s, and like Stargazer, this one can't let your opponent play traps during the battle phase, apart from the end of the damage step. Has to be a Pendulum monster again, but not a lot wrong with that. The only problem I found with this is I have to control no monsters to play it, so it could be discard fodder or it just gets really cloggy in the hand. But I usually go for Pendulum Call if I need to do this. And then obviously we've got Zhang Sheng. It's just there as a level 4. She, I don't really use her as anything else apart from XZ material or an 8. But obviously she's got the really bad effect of, if your opponent has less cards than you do on the field, this scale goes down to 4, which if you need a lower one and you've already got the higher, which is fine, but it's not good if you've got the 1 and then you got to 4, because you can only play the Noble Dragon and Time Gazer. That's pretty much it. So yeah, I had her at 2, but I've taken her down to 1. So that's it for the monsters. So we're now going to move into the spells. So we have 3 Pendulum Calls, which is obviously your rotor of the deck, with the additional effect of you can get 1 more, and pendulum monsters in the Pendulum Zone can't be destroyed until the end of your opponent's turn, which is great because it stops Wavering Eyes, and the amount of times I've had Wavering Eyes put down on me, it can hurt sometimes, but I use it at my advantage as well. So Pendulum Call is good for that. Obviously, you're going to search Magicians with it. Okay, Then we've got 3 Wavering Eyes. I use it at my advantage. I use it on my own monsters if I need it, pendulum monsters if I need to, just so I can do something with it. Or if not, and your opponent has 2 more, that's 4. It's such a good card, and every deck should at least have one in their side deck if they're going up against pendulum monsters or a pendulum deck. It's just good for anything really. Just side it if you're playing pendulums. Okay, instead of having Odd Eyes Fusion, I have Fusion Substitute. This is just so I can get the fusion monsters out, because Odd Eyes Fusion is pretty expensive. I am currently bidding on one on eBay, and if I win that, I'll be pretty chuffed because it's quite cheap, and I'll be happy to do that. So yeah, Fusion Substitute is your other Odd Eyes Fusion. Obviously, I do have a few cards in the side deck for fusions, but not right now. There's not a lot I can say about it. It's just a pretty straightforward card. Okay, so we have 2 Sky Iris, which is a sweet card, just to bring your Odd Eyes to your hand if you need to. It's a pretty good field spell. I did have Chicken Game in there as well, but I've decided to take it out and just leave it with these 2. I did have Terraform as well, which I've taken out. It's a pretty cool concept, really. With the way that I play the deck, it just works out better to get rid of it, and then you can bring it back for a pendulum summon if you need to. Okay, we have 3 one-offs. So we have 1 Twin Twisters, 1 Summoner Art, and 1 Sacred Swords. Extra draw if you need to. Just get rid of a Dharmarite if you're not going to use it, or a Dragon Pit if you're not going to use it. But that's kind of a last minute sort of thing, or do it in your first turn and just hope for the draw. So yeah. Summoner Art is your only target. Your only target is Dragon Pit. So if you need it, it's helpful. I was playing a game at locals where I only had this on this in my hand and then a scale on the field. I couldn't do anything, so I played Summoner Art for Dragon Pit, and Dragon Pit was on my scale already. So I used his Pendulum effect to get rid of it, discard a Pendulum monster from my hand, or Magician monster, so I can destroy 1 spell card or spell trap on the field, which was Kaiser Colosseum, and after that was gone, it blew him out of the water because he couldn't stop the flood of the pendulums. Xyz and Synchros, everything was happening after that. And then 1 Twin Twisters. I would like 2. I've only got 1. I might put an MST in, but that is in the side deck. It's a pretty straightforward card. Right, for the last card of the main deck, we play 3 traps, but they're all the same. So we play the 1 triple, which is Grand Horn. Grand Horn of Heaven is the get around of the Solemn Strike, because it's the Solemn Strike without the cost, pretty much. When your opponent summons monsters, you can negate the summon, destroy the monsters, and then your opponent draws 1 card, which is fair enough, but then it ends the main phase straight up, ends it. So if they play a special summon at the beginning of the turn, you can Grand Horn it. Oh, what are you going to do now? You can't do anything, which is lovely. Yeah, it took me a while to get these cards, but they're pretty common. But yeah, so that's it for the main deck. So we're going to move into the extra deck now. Extra deck is at 11. If I just quickly grab the 2 extra ones that I'm going to put in. So this is my lovely deck box for my Red Eyes deck. So let me just grab them. Sorry about this. There they are. Put them down. So this is like extra bits that I could put into this deck. So we'll start with the 2. So we've got Red Eyes Flare Metal. Obviously I've already got the 2, so I keep switching it around depending on which deck I play. And then we've got the... Oh, drop that. Then we've got the Big Eye. Are the 2 cards that I've taken out of my Red Eyes to switch into this deck. They won't be there all the time. They're not necessary. I played locals yesterday and I didn't even take them. I didn't need them, but they're there if I need them, which isn't likely. So just pop those two over there. So then we have the one Odd Eyes Rebellion. Probably one of my favourite cards ever because it's such a good card. With the Zhang Geik effect, you can then use him to OTK or just wipe out the opponent's field. Basic effect is any level 7 or lower monsters your opponent controls get instantly destroyed. They then take 1,000 damage for each of those destroyed. And if I do that, I can attack with this 3 times this turn, which will be the grand total of 9k. Yep, I love this card. I've had a lot of people wanting to take it off me, but nah, not going to happen. Then we have 2 Vortex Dragons. Picked this one up yesterday at locals, which is a lovely card. So thank you for that. And then we've got the other one, which is just the secret. Yeah, so Fusion Substitute and Absolute Dragon are the only 2 ways you can get this card out at the moment. There'll probably be other ways when I think about it. Find other things to do. So yeah, he's got the sick effect of when he's played, bounce one monster back, special summon monster your opponent controls back to the hand, and then once per turn, when an effect is activated, I can send one face-up Pendulum monster in the extra deck back to the main deck, and negate the effect, which stops so much stuff, and it's amazing. So yeah, I love that card. Then we have the one Rune Eyes Pendulum Dragon. He's there as a fusion substitute target as well. Depending on what level magician you choose, or spellcaster, but obviously it's going to be the magician, you choose to fuse with this. If it's level 4 or under, this is going to make 2 attacks, and if it's level 5 or higher, it can make 3 attacks. So that's another way of beating down the field. This one can only attack the monsters. Through that effect, he can attack anything. So yeah, nice. Okay, then we run 3 absolutes. An awesome card, especially with the negate attack effect, and then if it's destroyed, or if it just goes to the graveyard, you can special summon an Odd Eyes from your extra deck. And sometimes I just tribute it, and then I get out the Vortex as well. So I'll tribute it for Kieran usually, and then special summon the Vortex. Vortex bounces back. If he has anything, negate the effect. And then I can use Kieran to bounce itself back to get rid of another thing, and then just attack for 25. There's good stuff that you can do with this. There's great XEs, just 2 level 7s. And then we run 3 of the Meteor Burst. I'm probably going to take one of these out, because I just don't use them enough. I like the effect where when it's special summoned, you can special summon one there of the monsters in the Pendulum Zone to the field. So if you have an Odd Eyes out already, then you can just special summon a level 7 to the field from your Pendulum Zone. Xyz with those, bring it out, and then you get this out, and then that's such a good devil combo. There's nothing you can do. It's very difficult to get around. I have found my opponent doesn't like that play. And then we have 2 more, which is Gargaga Cowboy and then Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. So Cowboy is in there. I don't really go for him. He's just in there as extra parts. Not really needed. I'd probably get rid of this and put another one of these in if I get it. Probably a thing I could do is take the one out of my Red Eyes deck and switch it in for Gargagao for the Cowboy. So yeah, it's a good place to do with that. So that's the extra deck, and then obviously we've got the 2 up here as well. I'll leave them there so I know where they are. Yeah, so that's the extra deck. It's pretty cool. So I'll bring that there, and I'll just bring the main deck back in. There you go. So I'll bring the main deck there. So side deck is at 15. I'm still working on it, but this is what I've got. Let me know what you think. So we've got 1 Dharma Eye, 1 Oath Dragon, Performer Pulse Splash Mammoth, which is another good way of doing the fusion stuff. Another Zhang Sheng, Noble Dragon, Pendulum Impenetrable, Mistaken Accusation, MST, Pendulum Storm, Fusion Substitute, Pendulum Reborn, another Pendulum Reborn, Royal Decree, and Bottomless. So yeah, that's just a simple side deck there. Not really much to it. There's a few changes I'd like to make in the future, but the way that I use it, it's nice. Royal Decree, because obviously I've only got the one trap card in there. If I don't need it, just stick a Royal Decree down. It stops them from doing stuff. I'm thinking about putting a Vanities in, but probably not, because this deck requires special summon them. So yeah, that was my Odd Eyes Magician deck. It's a bit different to everybody else's plays and how they play it. Pepe is definitely coming a bigger thing in the TCG, as well as Magispectors. So a lot of decks require all this stuff. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm just putting it out there. So let's see how many views we can get on this one. 200 on my first deck profile. Let's see what happens with this. Like I said before, next thing will probably be an opening. I'll probably do a top 10, record it now or something, and just put it up later. My top 10 will be my top 10 favourite main deck monsters. Then I'll probably do spells, traps, and then extra deck monsters. I wonder if you guys can guess what number 1 is for the extra deck monsters. I don't know. Never gonna see it. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.
It's time to do